Tonight, resign or be fired. A Guelph police officer is given a choice after a nearly decade-long saga over an assault on a teen. Uncertainty hanging in the air.
Giving a bit of a push to that wildfire smoke more towards the west, towards the Kitchener-Waterloo area.
Tempering expectations for the events still going on.
Some people are going to stay away due to the smoke, and we respect that entirely.
As air quality questions linger into the weekend. Plus, moving on.
Jussi Ahokas is such an amazing coach and so deserves this opportunity.
The Memorial Cup champion Kitchener Rangers head coach.
I think anytime in junior hockey when someone does a good job, they're going to get interest from higher levels.
Is taking on a new opportunity. Good evening. A years-long case over whether a Guelph police constable should stay on the force is over. Corey McArthur, who elbowed a teen who was handcuffed to a hospital bed almost a decade ago, is being given 7 days to resign or be fired. His lawyers argued his actions were caused by post-traumatic stress disorder and that he should be allowed to remain an officer. We do have a warning. This story does contain video of the assault that was captured on hospital security footage. Let's go to CTV's Colton Weens, who is at the hearing today for all of these late-breaking details. Colton.
Well, Tony, the hearing officer read from a lengthy decision this afternoon, ultimately finding McArthur must be dismissed, saying while he agrees the officer suffers from PTSD, it doesn't make sense that it impacted the situation in 2016, as the teen assaulted was no threat to anyone but himself. Guelph Police Constable Corey McArthur has been told he has 7 days to resign from the service or be fired. McArthur pleaded guilty to discreditable conduct related to a 2016 incident where he elbowed a teen who was handcuffed to a hospital bed. After a hearing that spanned nearly 2 years, McArthur received the decision from the hearing officer, who said McArthur's actions were deplorable and a disgrace to the police force and that the teen was defenseless. The hearing heard a 17-year-old boy from a group home was threatening to hurt himself in September 2016 and was brought to the hospital by police for his own safety. When the teen hit McArthur with his knee, McArthur elbowed him. McArthur's lawyers argued the officer's response was as a result of his undiagnosed and untreated post-traumatic stress disorder due to the death of his partner in 2013 and out of an instinct to protect female officers. Hearing officer Morris Elbers did not agree. I had difficulty in the rationale for the actions of Constable Corey McArthur, Elbers said, adding, "It is my belief and do find that Constable McArthur overreacted to the situation." The hearing heard, no notes were made about the incident, and it was only discovered after hospital staff reviewed the video. Elbers said, why was his action not documented? Adding there was no blood or obvious injuries on the boy until after McArthur struck him. The hearing officer said no female officer was in danger. The only person in danger was the boy trying to hurt himself and trusting the police would take care of him. To equate this to PTSD is a large leap, which isn't rational in my opinion, the hearing officer said. Elbers also pointed out McArthur's apparent lack of remorse, saying he feels McArthur still believes he has done nothing wrong. But what he did was wrong, and he betrayed the trust of his fellow officers, the community, and the Guelph Police Service. Now, the hearing officer said if McArthur were to remain an officer, the damage to reputation of the service would be high, and there's truly no flexibility for the service to allow him back. Adding if his PTSD causes him to react like he did with the teen, how could he be trusted as an officer again with a gun? Tony.
Okay, Colton, thank you. CTV's Colton Weens with the very latest on that decision that came down today. And today's decision is the latest chapter in a saga that's been unfolding for 10 years. This was McArthur's second penalty hearing on the matter, and the second time he's been told he'll have to resign or be fired. CTV's Krista Simpson has a look back.
Corey McArthur joined the Guelph Police Service in 2001. In 2008, he was charged with assault in relation to his arrest of a man who was intoxicated outside a Guelph bar. 2 years later, a judge found McArthur guilty, but gave him an absolute discharge, meaning it would not appear on a criminal record. In September 2016, McArthur was at Guelph General Hospital on a call when he was asked by another officer to help with a 17-year-old who had been brought to hospital amid concerns he would harm himself. The teen was handcuffed to the bed. He kneed McArthur in the chest or stomach, and McArthur responded with a swift elbow strike that caused or aggravated an injury to the teen's face, requiring stitches. McArthur initially told hospital staff the teen hurt himself when he banged his head on the bed railing. It was hospital staff who later reviewed the video and reported the incident to police. McArthur was charged months later with assault causing bodily harm. In September 2018, he pleaded guilty to assault. He told court he had been dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, largely caused by the death of his partner, Constable Jennifer Kovac, in March 2013, when her cruiser collided with a city bus. McArthur said Kovac was responding to his request for backup when she was killed. In 2020, McArthur pleaded guilty to discreditable conduct under the Police Services Act. His lawyer arguing he has gone through treatment and should be demoted but allowed to remain an officer. The Guelph Police Service said he should be dismissed. On October 26, 2022, the hearing officer announced his decision, giving McArthur 7 days to quit or be fired, saying he denied his oath of office and neither this police service nor the community it serves can or will tolerate a law enforcement officer acting in such a prescribed manner. But McArthur appealed the decision, and in 2023, the Ontario Civilian Police Commission ordered a new penalty hearing, saying in part the original hearing officer did not appear to have given enough analysis to McArthur's PTSD. The second hearing began in July 2024 and took nearly 2 years to complete, with several delays and gaps between dates. McArthur has remained on the Guelph Police Service's payroll during this time. His salary in 2025 was $131,944.07, according to Ontario's Sunshine List. Krista Simpson, CTV News.
Okay, it's time now for a first check on the weather on this Friday. Ashley's off tonight, so let's head over to the weather wall and check in with Karis Mapp joining us this evening. Boy, there's been a lot to cover this week. The week ending nothing like how it started, and the wildfire smoke kind of still lingering.
Absolutely. What a day to fill in. You're absolutely right. This morning when I first left my house, it was early, maybe 5 a.m., and it almost looked like the smoke had dissipated a little bit. And I got my excitement up. And it also, the smell of the smoke also wasn't quite as intense. So we saw Environment Canada issue that warning saying that, you know, it could be over by this morning, but they issued another air quality orange warning early this morning. They're saying now that the air quality may persist into the weekend. Again, this is impacting much of southwestern Ontario. The weather agency really just reminding people to limit time outside, and if you are going to be inside, maybe consider closing your doors and windows so that it's not polluting the air that you have inside. Looking outside right now, 27 degrees. It's warm. It's mixed with that smoke. It could feel even more overwhelming. There is a slight west-southwesterly wind, 11 kilometers per hour, so that's helping push some of that smoke. But still, if you're going to be outside, maybe consider wearing one of a respirator-type mask, one of those N95s. Temperatures right now, like I said, 27 degrees. 28 down in Windsor. That's pretty much the standard across southwestern Ontario. And looking at our satellite radar, we're seeing cloud coverage mostly right now, but that storm is making its way in, which could help with the smoke. Tony.
Okay, we'll get the rest of the weekend details from you shortly. Karis, thank you. And as smoke lingers over the region, we're learning more about the decisions that are being made for some major festivals and events happening this weekend. Some organizers, including Rib Fest and the Uptown Waterloo Jazz Festival, choosing to go ahead with plans. CTV's Alexandra Hollick was out there earlier today getting a read on things, joining us back in studio now. Alexandra, you spoke with an Environment Canada meteorologist as well earlier today, kind of about the uncertainty as to when we're going to see the end of this.
That's right, Tony, and it's really hard to say. While we've definitely seen some improvement over the last couple of days, as long as the wildfires in northwestern Ontario keep burning, you can expect the smog to stick around. A foggy haze clouding Kitchener's Rib Fest and Craft Beer Show Friday didn't stop Nick Murray from following a family tradition.
The only thing that would stop me from coming is a lightning storm.
Murray and his sons traveled from Brantford to enjoy some smoked meat and not the smoky sky.
Today is a little bit better on the air quality, so We thought about it a bit, but it's okay today.
Not too worried.
At the Uptown Waterloo Jazz Festival, the show will go on.
We are expecting the numbers to be lower because we are expecting fans of the festival to make a decision that's right for them.
Organizers also say it's up to artists whether they want to take the stage. Crews will monitor conditions and air quality levels if winds shift.
We'll be watching that likely every 15 minutes or so to make sure that things are going in the right direction.
As for when the smoke will blow over, Environment Canada says Waterloo Region isn't in the clear just yet.
So it's still likely that Kitchener-Waterloo is going to remain in the very high, or at least the high range of the air quality health index.
In the meantime, festival goers and event attendees are urged to use their judgment.
Some people are going to stay away due to the smoke, and we respect that entirely.
We may be seeing some reprieve with a round of rain showers and thunderstorms this weekend, as Karis mentioned, but Environment Canada urges people to look out for warnings and watches on that front too. Tony.
Yeah, very much a wait-and-see approach. Okay, Alexandra, thank you so much. That's CTV's Alexandra Hollick joining us live. And the northern wildfires have now burned more land in Ontario than all of last year, affecting numerous communities. Today, CTV's Heather Wright visited one where some residents fear their town has been forgotten.
So we got our building supplies.
With a massive forest fire burning about 5 kilometers away, Sean Dufresne has packed up whatever he can into his truck and trailer.
This is only the stuff that we can move. There's still 2 permanent residents that's going to burn.
The community of Uppsala is about 150 kilometers northwest of Thunder Bay. There's no evacuation order here, but people are being told to leave before things get worse.
There are a bunch of communities that have been overrun, and we could be one of them.
Uppsala Fire Chief Doug Keesbring says they are doing what they can to protect the town.
We'll put one sprinkler system on the roof.
Getting sprinklers in place to protect properties like the fire hall. But the town's resources are limited. And with so many fires burning, the province's resources are being stretched as well.
They have limited resources for a massive demand this year. This is probably the fire season of a lifetime.
And while rain this morning brought some reprieve, it was not enough.
We're just good for a little while. We bought a little bit of time, but we have in no way won the war.
Communities across the country are fighting battles against fierce and fast-moving wildfires. Roughly 900 fires are burning across the country, forcing thousands of people from their homes. Well, officials have promised more resources to battle the fires and help those affected by them. Many here in the north say they're not seeing enough action.
We might not be in southern Ontario, but we are in northwestern Ontario. You're still in Ontario. Like, do you not deserve some rights or something?
You feel forgotten?
I feel forgotten.
Today, Ontario's premier said more than 150 firefighters and over 80 water bombers and helicopters have been deployed to fight these fires. But with more than 190 burning across the province, including 20 new ones today alone, this is an ever-changing situation they are trying to respond to. Heather Wright, CTV News, Uppsala, Ontario.
And in the bigger picture, of course, this is constantly a developing story. Over on our website, ctvnews.ca, you can find interactive maps of wildfires, smoke, and air quality, along with news coverage on stories relating to the fires. Well, no injuries were reported in a condo fire that sent smoke into the sky above Uptown Waterloo yesterday afternoon. Firefighters and police were called to the building at King Street South and Allen Street at around 4:30. Police say the fire started on a balcony and it's been deemed accidental. Part of King Street South was closed during the response, but it reopened a short time later. 3 people were taken to the hospital, one via air ambulance after a crash this morning right on the border of Wellesley and Woolwich townships. Regional police were called to the intersection of Cressler and Erbsville roads at 9:15 this morning. They say the driver of an SUV was traveling west on Cressler and had slowed down to make a left turn onto Erbsville Road when she was hit from behind by a pickup truck. That truck ended up rolling onto its side, and its driver, a 52-year-old man from Wellington County, was taken by air ambulance to an out-of-region hospital with serious injuries. A 17-year-old passenger and the Toyota driver, a 52-year-old woman from Waterloo, were both taken to hospital as well. Their injuries are considered non-life-threatening. Regional police continue to investigate, and they'd like to hear from anyone who witnessed the crash or who has dash camera footage. It's the end of an era for a better tent city, the tiny home community in Kitchener offering a home for some of the region's most vulnerable. On Monday, the region and the Working Centre will take over the site, bringing some changes. It's going to be the end as well for co-founder and site manager Nadine Green's role. CTV's Jeff Pickle, live now with more on this. Jeff, you spoke with Green today as her time in this role comes to an end.
Well, Tony, and as mentioned, Green is a co-founder and on-site manager, and it's a job that she takes very seriously, choosing to live in a cabin on site for the last 6 years. And it's with mixed emotions that she says goodbye while the community lives on under new management.
Love you, Nadine. Love you so much, man. You're the best thing that's ever happened to us. See in my life. No, really.
It's a lot of hugs and goodbyes, sharing memories of Nadine Green's 6 years at a better tent city.
It was the journey, like it was just day by day was just intense, so there was no time to think.
Better Tent City started in 2020 after Green, who owned a downtown Kitchener convenience store, was shut down for allowing people to sleep inside. Green says local business owner Ron Doyle then offered up his event space on Ardelt Avenue.
He liked what I was doing, and then eventually I got kicked out of my store. And Ron had asked if I could bring all of my homeless friends to his event space.
Doyle passed away in 2021, but their vision lives on, with Green remaining as the on-site manager, known more commonly as Mom to her neighbors.
There's some people that call her Mom, you know, and for other individuals that have different circumstances of not having family in their life, she's like family to them.
She's definitely very approachable, and she's very open. She's very understanding of every circumstance.
She doesn't even take a vacation. She just works every day, all night. Like she keeps going and going and going. Like she's amazing.
In May of this year, the board of A Better Tent City said they could no longer continue and asked the region to step in and take over. Starting July 20th, A Better Tent City will become part of the shelter system, and with that comes rule changes, including no employees living on site.
Because I'm upset about the outcome, but I'm also looking at how far we've come.
While happy to see the residents able to keep their homes, Green says the transition will be tough.
For some of the residents who may not like the change, they may have a hard time also. But I just want to tell them just to hang on and never give up and to look at the journey. It's been a beautiful journey.
After 6 years of constant problem solving, Green says she is ready for a break.
So I've been living the life as a homeless person for 6 years. So when you're homeless, you don't get a holiday. So I never took a holiday. So I'm just going to have a holiday and figure out what my next move will be.
One woman leaving a lasting legacy on a community. Well, an incredible journey for an incredible person who offered so much help to others. Enjoy that holiday, Nadine. Now, the region of Waterloo and the Working Centre officially take over on Monday. Tony?
Okay, great reporting on that follow-up. Jeff, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle live with us tonight. A reminder to start your day in the know with the CTV Kitchener newsletter. Local content from our newsroom right to your email inbox every morning. A look at the day's top news stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos all in one place. You can sign up over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. The minister who became the face of a hotel expense scandal is no longer in cabinet. Coming up, Ontario's tourism minister leaves his post after revelations about hometown hotel bills being charged to the public. Our Queen's Park reporter Siobhan Morris has more on the fallout.
I'm Leanne Evans with details about a big shakeup on the Rangers bench as head coach Jussi Ahokas announces he's leaving for a new opportunity. We'll have that story coming up.
Well, we've been plagued by the heavy smoke for 3 straight days now, but relief is on the way with rain. I'll let you know when to expect that during your full forecast later in the show.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news. You see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The Memorial Cup champion Kitchener Rangers will soon be looking for a new bench boss after one of the most successful coaching runs in franchise history. Head coach Jussi Ahokas is leaving the organization and the OHL for the American Hockey League, where he's been named head coach of the Colorado Eagles. CTV's Leanne Evans following this and joins us now live with more on what this means for Ahokas and for the Rangers. And of course, you know, Leanne, all of this coming fresh off Kitchener's Mem Cup championship win.
Yeah, and with all the success he's had this season, it didn't come as a total surprise to the organization, Tony. I spoke with Rangers general manager Mike McKenzie, who says they're thankful they had Ahokas at the helm for the past 3 years, wishing him the best of luck in Colorado. And they'll be looking for a lot of the same qualities in the next person they bring onto their coaching staff. From Memorial Cup champions.
We wanted to make this organization the best junior organization in the world, and we did that, and just an unbelievable feeling.
To a major coaching change.
I think anytime in junior hockey when someone does a good job, they're going to get interest from higher levels.
The Kitchener Rangers are facing their first big off-season loss. Head coach Jussi Ahokas is leaving the organization and the OHL. He's been named head coach of the Colorado Eagles, the AHL affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche.
We were thankful that we had him for 3 years and wish him the best of luck moving on to Colorado.
Jussi Ahokas is such an amazing coach and so deserves this opportunity to go coach in the AHL.
Ahokas leaves after one of the most successful 3-year runs in Rangers history. Since being named the 25th head coach of the franchise, he's led the club to a combined regular season record of 135, 52, 13, and 4.
Well, I think his record speaks for itself. I mean, if you look at the wins and losses record and just, you know, the success, especially last season with winning the OHL championship and Memorial Cup.
Before joining the Rangers, Ahokas found success as a coach in his native Finland, leading his country to a gold medal at the 2019 IIHF World Junior Championships. Now he's the first international coach to win a Memorial Cup.
Jussi has a unique perspective on hockey that isn't seen. He's a European coach that comes from a different system.
Now the process begins to find a new head coach ahead of a brand new season.
I think it needs to be someone very similar to Jussi and similar to other staff members that we have. They need to be hardworking. They need to understand the history and tradition of our team and how important it is to the community.
And there's already speculation around who will be the new bench boss.
I would imagine that it's probably Jeff Krzakis has been the, as far as I can tell, the number 2 on that coaching team, and I would see that he potentially could be the one that moves up.
Ahokas also thanked the organization, saying he can't be more happy that he made the choice to come to Kitchener. He says he came here with one goal in mind, and that was to win a Memorial Cup championship. Well, he helped the team get it done, and that's why he's decided to move on. Once again, thanking the community for 3 years he'll never forget. Tony.
Yeah, and it's a legacy I know fans will never forget either. Leanne, thank you. CTV's Leanne Evans live with that report for us. Well, days after it was revealed that Toronto area MPP and Provincial Cabinet Minister Stan Cho billed taxpayers for hotel stays in Toronto, Cho announced today he's stepping down as the Minister of Tourism. And he's not the only person leaving Cabinet. Here's CTV's Queen's Park reporter Siobhan Morris.
Less than a week after a $16,000 hotel tab came to light, Stan Cho has resigned as Minister of Tourism, Culture and Gaming.
It's unacceptable. It's not tolerated. And Stan did the right thing.
The cost of hotel stays billed to taxpayers, even though Cho lives just 6 kilometers from Queen's Park. the allowance designed to help local MPPs in emergencies. In his resignation letter, Cho writes that he only claimed accommodation on nights the legislature sat late. And on late nights, he made a choice that was easier for him, not stopping to ask how it would look to someone working a double shift. Cho says he made a mistake and has repaid every cent. The opposition leader says it's not enough.
The people of Ontario demand answers, and I will say as well, he's not even the worst offender.
Public records show the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Transportation racked up the biggest bill since 2023. Hardeep Grewal, who represents Brampton East, billed taxpayers for over $27,000. Nina Tangri from Mississauga Streetsville had almost 19 grand in hotel bills. And Charmaine Williams of Brampton Centre has been repaid close to $16,000.
They can all resign. It's not going to stop me from demanding answers from this premier, because you know what? The rot starts at the very top.
The premier wouldn't say if other ministers or parliamentary assistants should step down or if he'll overhaul all expenses.
We're changing that policy, and they know how upset I was, and we're going to move forward, and there has to be accountability, and we don't operate that way. That's not in our DNA.
The interim Liberal leader isn't sure that's the case.
It's a pattern of abuse of taxpayer dollars. But why are we surprised? The premier tried to buy himself a luxury private jet. There's a culture of entitlement in this government, and it starts with the premier.
The Minister of Sport has also resigned. It has nothing to do with expenses. Neil Lumsden is retiring from politics as of August 4th. That leaves the Premier with decisions to make about his cabinet and when to trigger 3 by-elections. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
All right, another live look outside now from Uptown Waterloo, the Uptown Waterloo Jazz Festival. Going on this weekend, a lot of events, making decisions kind of last minute about whether to go on this weekend, given the smoke that we're dealing with in the air and the air quality warnings. This is one of the events that is happening, and Karis will be back in just a couple of moments to give us an update on that weather outlook. Also coming up, looking out for the pets left behind during wildfire evacuations. Next, though, the U.S. president wants to punish Canada for the wildfire smoke. All right, excited to have Karis back on the desk with us tonight, because I feel like sometimes we are the two mischievous kids who they keep split up, right?
Back in business, my partner in crime on the desk for sure.
We are. No, it's good to have Karis Mapp with us tonight, as Ashley is off for the night. And what an assignment, because not only are we talking about, well, we just came off that heat wave, now we've been stuck in this situation with wildfire smoke and a lot of uncertainty as we go into the weekend about exactly how much better or worse it's going to get.
Absolutely. I was saying to Leanne earlier, it's such a jarring sight to come out and see that smoke just fill the skies the way it is. And, you know, this morning they said, oh, it might dissipate by morning, and it did a little bit, and people were thinking they were in the clear, only for it to come back this afternoon filled with that smoggy haze. We can take actually a live shot outside right now. This is from our cameraman, Dave Pettit. As you can see, Uptown Waterloo Jazz Fest. The artists are still out there giving them a performance, rather. As we kind of pan out, we see how many people are actually there. Even we heard from the organizer today, there aren't going to be as many people as we typically see for Jazz Fest. It's a big festival in our region, but people, even some of the people that you see there wearing those masks, really being cognizant about the air quality, and that's what you got to do. Environment Canada is urging people to wear those respirator-type masks, N95. Don't spend too much time outside, really just putting your health and safety first in this unprecedented time. So Environment Canada, like I said to Tony just now, we thought that the smog might clear out earlier this morning, and then Environment Canada issuing another poor air quality, orange air quality warning, saying that this now could persist into the weekend. So as you've heard ample times this week, limit that time outside. Make sure that if you're inside, you're keeping those windows and doors closed. Some of the symptoms you could see are, you know, irritation in eyes, throat, ears, a mild cough. So just make sure that you're monitoring your own safety. Looking at our future cast forecast right now, there is some cloud coverage over Waterloo region and surrounding areas. Like I said earlier, we're going to see some relief from this smoke, hopefully, and that's with this rain that's coming through here by Saturday, 4 p.m. It will have passed a little bit, but we're seeing that heavy storm moving through the region and surrounding areas. And then by Sunday, it's going to keep moving, and we're going to get some sunshine. Now, this smoke is set to clear out by tomorrow morning, so hopefully by Sunday, you will see the sunshine and be able to actually get outside and enjoy it. Looking at the temperatures now, 27 degrees in Waterloo region, 28 down in Windsor, 27 in Sarnia, up in Wyerton, 20. So a little bit cooler up there, but still relatively warm, especially when you're dealing with that smog. It can just feel really overwhelming. Overnight tonight, 18 degrees is the overnight low. The widespread smoke will be overnight as well, and there is a 40% chance of some showers and a thunderstorm. 18 still relatively warm. Go against that urge to open your windows, throw the AC on. For tomorrow, expected high of 25 degrees, cloudy, 60% chance of a thunderstorm. So like I said, that rain will hopefully hit and kill some of that smog. And our almanac, 26 degrees was the expected high. We're up at 27, so we got over that. A little bit warmer than what our normal is for this time of year, which is typically 15 degrees. Sunset tonight at 8:59. As I've been saying, it might not look like that with the smog in the air, but it's going to set around 9 o'clock. And looking at our 7-day forecast, the rain's coming tomorrow, 25 degrees, dropping down to 15 overnight. Sunshine back for Sunday, 24, but that overnight low is going to drop all the way down to 11. So we're seeing the cooler evenings. Next week, early on, it's going to be a little bit cooler, a little bit cloudier, some rain, and then some more sunshine to cap off the week. Taking a look for our friends over in Lambton, Kent, Essex, very similar, except they're going to get a couple more days of sunshine. Warmer temperatures spiking up to 28 degrees to start off the week. Pretty warm temperatures throughout the week as well, and some mix of sun and clouds. So mostly sunny there. And finally, in southern Georgian Bay, very similar situation. Their temperature highs for the start of next week around 25, 21, 20. Overnight lows dipping down to 16 and 18. So the warmer weather is coming. It's going to be more comfortable than we've experienced this week. Now let's take a look at our weather watcher picture. Oh, it's, like I said, it's so jarring to see it. This photo comes from Linda Becker. This was last night in the Forest Heights area of Kitchener during sunset. You wouldn't even really be able to tell between the cloud coverage and the smog. It's just a crazy picture that I said. It's just, it never looks real when you see it in person.
No, and you know, the sun was so obscured over the last couple of days that the dashboard in my car lit up the way that it does at night when I was driving into work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how little light we've had because of the haze that's been hanging over us.
And you see that normally when you drive under a bridge, but when it's not kind of turning off, it's, oh my goodness, this is our reality. It's a crazy time.
That's very telling, the kind of week it's been. All right, Karis, thank you. We'll talk to you later. The U.S. president today used the drifting smoke from the wildfires, which is now covering many U.S. cities as well, to threaten new tariffs on Canada. CTV's Joy Malbin has more from Washington.
Millions of Americans woke up to this. Cities shrouded in smoke and haze from the wildfires. Chicago, Detroit, and Washington, 3 of the most polluted cities. You can barely see the capital. The air quality, a code purple. And that's not good.
It smells like a campfire. I've been in and out of a car just taking care of errands this morning, and my throat is already sore. And my eyes are itching.
I'm wearing the mask because the air quality is very low from the wildfires coming from Ontario and Canada.
It was only a matter of time before some Americans began to blame Canada for the unhealthy air. The U.S. president said he's holding Canada responsible, calling it willful negligence, and says he will add the cost of this pollution to the tariffs Canada is currently paying. Ohio's Republican Senator Bernie Moreno threatened to sanction Canada and the responsible Canadian government officials for this atrocity. The wildfire smoke so enraged 4 Michigan Republicans, they sent a scathing letter to the Prime Minister, claiming Canada hadn't managed its forests to prevent the fires. Ontario's Premier is pushing back.
I truly believe the Americans are good neighbors. If there's some politicians out there chirping away, well, maybe what you should do rather than complain is send support.
And ask the experts. They say it's not who, but what is to blame.
Until we cut that fossil fuel use down to 0 and start actually stop the warming and start the cooling, we will face this. So it's ridiculous to blame Canada.
For the U.S. states affected some relief this weekend. Rain and thunderstorms are in the forecast, and that will help clear the air. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
A Montreal man who says he was wrongly convicted 3 decades ago will get another day in court.
Nicolas called me on the phone and he said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "No, why should I?" He said, "Yes, you should." And I did. And then he said to me, "I just got the decision from the Justice Minister."
The Justice Minister has ordered a new trial for Daniel Jolivet, saying he found reasonable grounds to conclude a miscarriage of justice likely took place. Jolivet was convicted in a quadruple murder in Montreal in 1992, but has always maintained his innocence. His case was referred to the Justice Minister last year, and Jolivet was released on bail last December. Next, a double whammy for Canadian cabinet makers. The Canadian wood products sector battling tariffs and another hurdle. U.S. tariffs have been devastating for manufacturing sectors across Canada. The wood product industry feeling a hit on 2 fronts: tariffs and a flood of competition from other countries. CTV's Abigail Beeman hears from a producer in Quebec.
We are in the 50,000 square feet extension.
Alain Ouzilot invested $25 million to expand this custom cabinet-making plant, including these robots. And even though any given day sees 15,000 moving parts here,
we're running 50% capacity because of this whole situation, that the tariff and the imports.
25% tariffs Donald Trump threatens to double next year, and a flood of imports from companies around the world who see Canada as an attractive alternative to the U.S., where they too face tariffs, means Cabico had to lay off about 200 people.
And this is really the part that is hurting the most. Of course, losing sales for a business, it's never good, but when you have to let go people, we're talking about, it's human drama. You know, this is reality, and we love our people.
Cabico, as part of the Canadian Wood Products Alliance, successfully lobbied the government for what's called a safeguard inquiry.
It allows countries to impose tariffs in a time of emergency, when precisely like this, when there's a flood of product coming into the market.
William Pellerin represents them and their call for a 100% plus provisional tariff in the meantime, before the Canadian International Trade Tribunal makes its decision.
The results won't be known until February. And that, frankly, is too late for a large number of Canadian producers.
We're very much against any sort of preemptive action by the government.
The Retail Council of Canada warns tariffs will raise prices for Canadians. Ouzilot disagrees.
We're breaking even, but we want to continue to invest. We want to continue to grow. So one of the options we'll have to start looking, continuing protecting our Canadian jobs, will be to look at having operations south of the border, which I would hate to do.
The Finance Minister's office tells CTV News it will continue to assess whether more steps are needed while the inquiry is underway. The Canadian Wood Products Alliance says 3,000 jobs have already been lost in Quebec, and by 2028, 7,000 more are at risk. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Coaticook, Quebec.
As northern communities battle devastating wildfires, efforts are underway to support affected animals, including pets that may have had to be left behind. CTV's Mike Walker has that story.
As wildfires rage in northwestern Ontario, a team of veterinarians are mobilizing to support affected pets.
Wildfires in northern Ontario are much worse right now than they have been in previous years, and it's impacting a large number of animals, and there's no veterinary resources that are able to help up there.
William Woodstock is the CEO of Vets Around the Corner in Port Perry. They've assembled a team that will deploy for Thunder Bay on Saturday to provide emergency care for animals that have been displaced, injured, and abandoned by the wildfires.
Using a community building once we arrive to set up a field hospital. We'll kind of care for wounded animals and then deciding what needs to be transferred to a kind of brick and mortar animal hospital and what we can manage in our field hospital.
We'll probably also be doing some vaccinations just to make sure that as those animals move
towards the Southern Ontario shelters, fosters, wherever they end up going, that they've at least been protected.
They are working closely with the province first responders, the Ontario SPCA, and local clinics. They've launched a GoFundMe to help cover all costs associated with the emergency response.
Animals are such an important component of social wellness as well, personal wellness, personal well-being, their own mental health. So people that are evacuating, that are leaving their pets behind, that they're going to be massively affected by that.
As communities are evacuated, the Ontario SPCA is working with the Ministry of Emergency Preparedness and Response and Northern Rescues to support families and their pets.
We have set up supply stations with the host community sites where people are evacuating to.
That includes supplying food, emergency supplies, and boarding.
So we've set up a dedicated wildfire telehealth line for pets. People who are impacted by wildfires need assistance and advice.
But as the wildfires evolve, so too will the response. Mike Walker, CTV News.
A century of tradition, a future uncertain. Just ahead, marking a milestone and trying to chart a path forward at the Royal Canadian Legion. A milestone celebration today for the Royal Canadian Legion. The nation's largest veteran advocacy group is turning 100. But with fewer older veterans and declining membership, many local branches are getting creative to cover their costs and encourage younger members to join. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has more.
In many areas of the country, the Legion is a community hub.
And you served with?
In Orleans, it's not just a place to eat and drink. It's a place to play cards and billiards, to learn to line dance, and even jam out.
It does have a real meaning, a meaning for people who can enjoy being here. And some come in because we got no place else to go.
The Legion has always been a safe space for veterans and their families, filled with specialized programs and supports. But in recent years, many branches struggling with declining memberships have started reaching further into the community, offering activities and events to make younger people and those who have never served feel more welcome.
We do want to attract those people because we want the organization to survive going forward. And it's all about remembrance.
The Royal Canadian Legion was officially founded in 1926 as a way to bring together veterans advocacy groups after the First World War. Today, there are more than 1,300 local branches that all support veterans, advocate for their rights, and ensure the act of remembrance continues. Today in Ottawa, that 100 years of service marked by a special ceremony at the National War Memorial, all about the importance of sacrifice and service.
It's very important to remember the past, and particularly when somebody's given their life so that we can have what we have, you know.
A mission of remembrance and a dedication to military and RCMP members that the Royal Canadian Legion pledges to prioritize over its next 100 years.
To support veterans is our main goal, and of course that's what we're most proud of.
Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
And we'll have more news in just a couple of minutes. First, let's check in once again with Karis.
Well, the smoke that we've seen these last few days is set to clear out tomorrow, and I'll let you know what conditions you can expect first thing in the morning. Wake up weather is coming up.
Tonight, the wildfire threat fueling fear among Canadians.
I'm depressed, I'm sad, ticked off a little bit.
Plus, what Donald Trump said about smoke from Canada. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
KW's Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Listen all summer for your chance to win. Turn the lights off, carry me home. With Bounce to your backyard.
Okay, Karis is back with Wake Up Weather for Saturday, and I wanted to emphasize something. It's not going to be terrible all day long. Later in the day, looking a little better.
Absolutely. So like I said, the smog is set to clear out tomorrow. We'll look at kind of the wake-up weather right now. By 6 a.m., we're seeing that there is that risk of the showers and thunderstorm clearing out a little bit by 8 a.m., but the smoke will still be heavy at that time. By 10 a.m., some more chance for some showers, and that rain will help push out the smoke. So hopefully by the afternoon, people can enjoy, some of the different events and festivals happening around the region.
That's
Could still be a little bit wet, but still enjoy it.
I've got my eye on the late afternoon toward dinner hour because there seems to be some consensus that the rain's going to let up at that point. So maybe we can get something out of Saturday.
Whether it's jazz or ribs, whatever you're looking for, that's your time.
Exactly. Well, finally for us, I've been waiting for this one. Shania Twain set to take the stage in Toronto tonight for an intimate show at the Horseshoe Tavern.
According to my mother, I'm the next Daniel Tucker. I'm gonna be a star.
Oh, still sounding amazing. It's going to be the first time the country stars played the iconic Toronto venue. Twain got her start performing in Timmins and describes tonight's performance as a full circle moment.
The Horseshoe can only fit 500 people, and tickets to the show sold out immediately after going on sale Wednesday.
So this brings back a memory, okay? A teenage Tony Grace seeing Shania Twain at the Molson Amphitheater in August 1998. That was a great show.
Wow, and to see her then, like you said, prime Shania.
Oh, yeah.
I was lucky enough to see her a couple years ago at Canada Life Place in London with my husband and my parents-in-law.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, still such a fantastic show.
And still such a fan favorite. So many of those songs, whether you're talking about back in the 90s
Make me want to sing them.
or later. Yeah, absolutely. No, this was I think it was the Come On Over tour that I saw back then. And it was just, anyway, I'm going to start singing if I don't shut up.
I feel
like a woman. Yeah, good one. Okay, whatever you're doing this weekend, whether it's taking in some music or spending some time at one of the festivals or maybe just a backyard gathering, have fun. Of course, be mindful of everything the weather's throwing our way.
With more to come, like we said earlier, make sure you're going a little bit later in the day once that smoke clears out.
We've had a lot to navigate, but we've got some better days coming. We're sure of it. Take care, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back here tonight at 11:30. Have a good night.